Okay, so we decided how we had to make the text here and the dimensions here look like the stuff here, right? So in order to do that, we had to do some figuring with scale factoring. We figured out the dim scale of this window is 48, and the dim scale of this window at ½ inch equals a foot is 24. So now it makes sense we need to go into our model space and look at this text, and if we list it, we know that the text here is 6 inches tall. So we know if we want this to be a detail window that is ½ inch equals a foot, we need to make this text smaller. We need to make it half of what it is, or 3 inches. So if I list this text, it says right now that it's 6 inches. So what I'm going to do with the text, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to circle this window, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to Properties. And in my Properties filter, I'm going to filter out just text. And for the text, I'm going to say the height is going to be 3 inches. And now I've got that. But now there's the problem of dimensions. I can't just scale them down, because if I just scale this down in half, watch what happens. It doesn't work, does it? So what would I do? Well, I'll go in here, I'll make another selection of everything, because I'm lazy, right? Sometimes. And I'll right click and go to my Properties filter, and I'll say filter out the dimensions. And in process of filtering out the dimensions, guess what? If I go down here, look what it says my dim scale overall is of my drawing. But look what can I do down here? If I come down here, look what I can do. I can change the individual dim scale of some of my text. What if I went in here and just changed this to just 24? What happens? Oh, look at that. That changes the overall dim scale. So now those look what? They look smaller than these, but when we go to our layout, they look the exact same size. And that's the key, okay? The same is going to be true now. Watch what I do. Watch what I do. I'm going to simply make a copy. Now, I can make this viewport window a little smaller now because my text is properly scaled. There are a couple extra little housekeeping things I'm going to do before we close out the video. So there's that one. I'm going to copy this. I don't need to make a brand new one, right? Now I'm going to go in here and double click, and guess what? There's my last window at ½ inch equals a foot. I'm going to select 1, 2, 3 pieces of text, 4 pieces of text, right click, go to Properties while I'm in the paper space window, and I'm going to change them to what? 3 inches. And now that dimension, I'm going to simply click on it, come here, and I'm going to go down to its dim scale overall feature, and I'm going to change it to 24. Now, again, some minor housekeeping things I have to do, so what I'm going to do is just simply put this in place, and then it's going to be a little easier for me to go into my model space and move this piece of text back over, right? I'm going to move this over, get it lined up. Okay, I'm going to move this down. This is just housekeeping. Same here. Move that down a little, right? My my descriptive text, this is my annotative text. It's telling me about what this is. This is a column that's a 10 by 10 by half. But these section things, I'm going to scale up again. I'm going to make them 6 inches again, and you'll see why in a second, right? I'm making them larger because they are describing something, and I'm going to call these section AA, make this a little bigger, okay? And then, of course, section BB, all right? And that kind of just describes them a little better, right? It's telling them what it is. Down here, you know, these little arrows, again, this is housekeeping. I'm just going to make them be a little bigger, right? I'm just going to scale them both up twice because it is known as title text. And title text we make twice the size of our annotative or descriptive text. And wherever you go to work, different people may call these things differently. It doesn't really matter as long as you understand what they're supposed to really be as far as how they show up on a sheet or how we use them. I'm also going to change these to the proper layer. I'm going to make them the section layer because we're cutting a section, right? So I'll put them on the section layer so that they print properly. Okay. And then if I go out here, I see that my sections are being described and my plan is being described. The last thing I'll probably do here, I see two things I want to do. I'll go back to my model space. I'll delete that old title block that I bought in, and then I'll copy this over, and I will simply call this, right? This is a floor plan, isn't it? Or it is a framing plan, 1/4 inch equals 1 foot dash 0 inches, okay? And what else I can do, I can go in here, if you don't remember from AutoCAD, and I can go into the stacking properties, right? See the stack properties? I just highlighted it, right-clicked, and I like mine structurally, architecturally, civilly. I like to make them diagonal. They just look more architectural in nature, right? And now I can do another little housekeeping thing. I can shorten up these column lines just a hair, and then I can bring this up to the middle. And what I also like to do in the instances of these, I also like to underline, right? So I can go up here and underline that. You know what? Maybe not so much. Maybe I'll just underline the first part of it. How about that? That looks maybe a little better. I don't know. No big deal. And then if I want to, I can simply go here, right? Double click on one. Whoops. I can underline this. Again, these are housekeeping things. You'll see on the sheets, structural plans we look at, we usually underline our descriptive text. And now, if I go out here, I don't have a bad looking little framing plan. Now, another problem. Let's fix this last problem before we fix this last video. What's wrong? See, that's showing up properly at twice the size, right? If I go in here and I click on this and I go to properties, I'm finding that it is what? It's 6 inches, so it should be what? 12 inches to make it show properly. All right? Now, I recommend you do this at first in the model space. I'm doing it in the paper space. And over here is the same thing. I could slide this over a little if I wanted to. I don't have to, you know, but it looks pretty good. Now all the titles are a 1/4 inch, right? These are all a 1/2 inch, and they're showing up properly. But if I look back here, look at this. See how this piece of text is larger than these because these are magnified in their window, and this isn't as magnified, okay? And I should also probably tell them section AA is what? Section AA is, I can go down here, and at a smaller height of 3 inches, I can say this is 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch equals 1 foot dash 0 inches, right? And I don't want to underline it. I want to make it 3 inches because it's beneath it, and it's going to give me a little bit of trouble. So let me try this one more time. There we go. And I also want to change my my stack properties. Yeah, I want to change my stack. Where's my stacks? Oh, I've got that inch in there. I just have to have the fraction in there. Now I can change my stack properties to diagonal. And instead of fooling around, I'm going to delete this one. Whoops. I'm going to just erase this one, and I'm going to copy this up and change it from section AA just to BB, right? It's B and B. And now I'm done, okay? So I'll go ahead and close out this video. Hopefully there was something you were able to kind of benefit from. That's how we do our little housekeeping things at the end of a drawing, just to kind of make them look a little neater and a little more presentable for to go out to our clients, okay? So you're going to do something very similar for all 3 of your framing plans, and what that's going to help you do is get these ready so that in about a week's time, I'll show you how to generate PDFs from AutoCAD, even if you don't have a PDF generating program. AutoCAD will export these to a PDF for you. But we'll worry about that in a week or so. So again, like I said, little housekeeping things here or there. Make sure you can see all your text in your windows and everything is showing. And perhaps one more thing that we probably should talk about is that here in this model space, if you look, if I copy this line out here, extend this a little, but it's important that you see this. You see the dashes in that line in this window, right? But if I go out to my layout and I look at that, I don't see dashes in the line, right? So what I need to do to fix that, there's a command. And if I double click in my window, if I type in PSLT scale, okay? Right now it's 1. I'm going to make it 0, which is going to make it equal to the line type scale of the model space. And I'll hit enter. And then I'll go regen. And now you can see that the PSLT scale has changed. And now I can see the dashes in that line. So that PSLT scale is an important little thing, especially when you're working on great big drawings, like maybe Sarah works on with utilities, and you want to see the pattern in the fence line. Sometimes our PSLT scale is off, and we have to change that variable so that paper space matches the line type scaling of our model space. And that's where I'll end the video, okay?